So it is a privilege to introduce to you and to ask you to please welcome the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins.
Hoirithe bhí mé bheochas an ghlocú leis an cuiris seo agus le slíam le David agus le Seanas an seach bliana tá choristeach ar féile le tríochta seo. Agus tá spós tilteach ag sí litre agus cultúrge na Héireann. May I, continuing in the other language then, say first of all what a great pleasure it is to be here. It's so pleased to see Yanis Varoufakis here. You're most welcome. I think that this festival is a festival that has been here now for 7 years, and it has rightfully acquired a great status for, I think, not just being a festival that deals with writing, but a festival that deals with ideas. In all their eclecticism, which is very important. People like myself from the other side of the country take a concept like Dalkey. I often think about it as a writer. People have written about Irish rural life. People have, Frank O'Connor wrote about his childhood in Cork. But what do you say about Dalkey? I used to say originally, Dalkey is for the middle classes. And then, of course, immediately I'd have to correct myself in a way. And I suppose the Dalkey Literary Festival has discussed the dilemmas and contradictions of the Irish middle classes very well. But it also has done something terribly important. It has brought people who are sharing stories and making narratives, and people who really, from the very top of what you might call the celebrity end of literature, Booker Prize winners and Nobel laureates, to others who are emerging writers. In that way, it's representing a fine representation. This is what I think is so attractive. Such a wonderful program. How would you get all of these people together in the one space for the one summer is a great achievement in itself. It also, I think, represents maybe one of the best hopes we have for democracy, that we are all able to share the agony of the world as well as its joy, because we do need its joy to manage its agony. And I think this year, so many distinguished writers from home and abroad, they've taken part again, sharing their thoughts and experiences. The conversations that will take place here will be very important. I noted when I got the invitation that the original purpose of founding the festival was to celebrate and foster the wealth of literary talent in and around the town. Well, I think it has functioned more in a magnetic function as well. It has done what its main aim was, but it has also attracted so very much more. And there is no doubting that Dalkey's rich heritage as a home and an inspiration for world-renowned Irish writers. Having got over that too easy assumption I made, I think as well then there's something wonderful about the setting itself, so near the sea. I think it is important. I remember 25 years ago when I was Minister for Culture being involved in the argument about the fixed price for the book. I do hope you support your local bookshop. And I think that it is, there's a huge difference between the commercial retailing of books and the atmosphere of a bookshop. I remember in those early days, about 30 years ago, asking some of them where the poetry section was, which was an embarrassing question for some. But I think it is appropriate that we're gathered here today on the day that it is, Bloomsday, marking James Joyce's world-renowned Ulysses, which immortalised both the nearby Martello Tower and the Clifton School on Clifton Avenue, where James Joyce taught. But of course, Dalkey indeed doesn't rely on that single pillar literary connection. It has sprung from roots that preceded Ulysses, and it has flourished significantly across those decades since the publication of James Joyce's wonderful work. It was of Tarka Road that George Bernard Shaw spoke when he wrote, "I lived on a hilltop with the most beautiful view in the world. I had only to open my eyes to see such pictures as no painter could make for me." I've been fascinated about Shaw and some of the other people who lived around here, including John Millington Synge. If I had more time, which I don't, to think why, for example, an unusual feature of them all is that they all have Noras. James Joyce has a Nora. Heinrich Ibsen had a Nora. Sean O'Casey had a Nora. I think Synge had a Nora. I could go on. I think that it is a very significant rereading of William Butler Yeats. It would be the absence of a Nora. I think that in Millington Synge, of course, Dalkey, most people will say that will think of the Dalkey archive in the wonderful Flann O'Brien novel, and of John Millington Synge striding along the Dalkey roads, swinging his stick. And of course, Maeve Binchy is synonymous with Dalkey. I think I've no doubt that the new generations of emerging Irish writers continue to be inspired by Dalkey and its surrounds. I'm delighted that several distinguished writers, such as Elif Shafak, Giannini Giovanni, Shazia Mirza and Yanis are here, Yanis Varoufakis, to discuss these issues of belonging and nationhood and migration and the relationship of economic theory, practice, and what is accountable and unaccountable to these contradictions of our contemporary existence. I think, therefore, it's very interesting to be here at a celebration of writing. I'm delighted, for example, that 100 years on from 1916, we have put women back into history who had been systematically written out in 50 years of celebrating our rising. As well as that, it has taken time, some of the rural experiences in the War of Independence. And I'm preparing to give a speech later on in about a month's time on what we will face in relation to remembering our Civil War. Remembering 1916 will be an absolute doddle by comparison with, in fact, actually, the War of Independence can be handled fairly well as well. But when you come to the incredible fratricide, the incredible savagery, the incredible brutality, the incredible events of the Civil War will be attested as Anna Arendt might have, for example, as she works her way through, for example, reaching the point, her concept of forgiveness, which you have discussed at another one of these Dalkey festivals. She changed her position 4 times. Should you be asked to forgive? Should you concede forgiveness? And what is forgiveness at all? And so forth. And what is the relationship between memory, forgiveness, and forgetting? I think that it is very incredible. It is very delighted to have been asked to be here. I am conscious that Salman Rushdie referred to this festival as the best little festival in the world. And that was before he had encountered the shops, the schools, the gardens, the cafes. He had been around some of the pubs with Declan Kuipert and others. I think it is a great celebration of the written word. The written word is really very important. I just want to say, mar facas geraguscan críca carlish and mead the tail Rome squimgach, rock a spanach to discuss summersu because she have buintianov asan maragurt me colludan le triachta sha. I think that I want to congratulate all those involved in the organization of this event. And really to people let their minds engage how privileged we are that people come to Ireland and how privileged we are that writers abroad and at home, and particularly those young writers, often waiting very lonely experience, waiting for that sensation when they hear their first publication or to handle the book for the first time. What they have contributed to the image of Ireland abroad that makes want people to come. I'm sure, David, you have already done so, but I, as President of Ireland, also want to say how welcome people who are interested in ideas and thoughts and those who are interested in writing and reading, and interested in libraries, and interested in conversation, and interested in dealing, as I have said, with all the agony and joy of our shared existence on a vulnerable planet. I think this is so important. So whether you've come, even some of you, just to say, to have a look at the others who are doing the things I've just described as curiosities, I hope that you will enjoy it. May I wish you a most wonderful festival, a great weekend, and once again, thank you for inviting me to be with you this evening.
The Zurich Dalkey Book Festival.
With Air.
Global names, local vibe.